Sanibonani and welcome back to Money Matters with me, Dozo. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're back on the YouTube streets. Shout out to me. So today I just want to do a quick video about rental properties. I've come across a lot of people who either want to invest in rental properties or they have a rental property and they don't really know how to go about declaring that income to SARS or what is needed or how that will impact their taxes. So if you are an individual and you buy an apartment, for example, and you rent it out to someone, that means you will be making an extra income, and all income that you make needs to be declared to SARS and you need to pay taxes on it. Of course, unless you are under the tax bracket, then I'm not talking to you. I think it's around, I'll actually put it on the screen how much it currently is. So if you're making an income from renting out property, you are allowed some deductions. So when you go on the income tax return, there is an area that asks you if you are letting out fixed property. That is the section that you will click on, and it'll open up a section for you to declare your rental income as well as your deductions. The deductions that you are allowed are obviously limited. It's limited to the interest that you pay on your mortgage. If you're paying a mortgage on the home, it's just the interest portion. You are also allowed to deduct the levies and rates and taxes that you pay on the apartment. You are also allowed to deduct any repairs that you might do on the apartment. You can also deduct like agent fees and stuff like that. So any expenses that you incur in order to provide that apartment to your tenant, or in order for you to generate the income on that apartment, you are allowed to deduct it. You do, however, need to provide proof of these expenses. So whenever you are submitting your tax return and you declare that you have a rental property, they'll ask you the details of the rental property. So it'll be the address or whatever. Then they will ask you to submit a schedule. So basically like an income and expenses schedule. So you'll have your income, your expenses, and whatever the profit or the loss you made on the apartment. And then they will also ask you for proof. So you need to submit the leases. If you had multiple tenants in 1 year, you'll need to submit the leases. You'll need to submit proof of the expenses that you incur, so your levy statements, your mortgage statements, and stuff like that. This goes for a lot of the expenses that you will try to deduct when it comes to SARS. You do need to provide proof of those expenses. They are quite strict to this because they also need to make sure that you are not trying to deduct your personal expenses. So you're not trying to deduct the interest on the mortgage you're paying on your house, but it is the one that you have for investment property. So once you have your schedule, it shows the profit that you make on the apartment. Because you are an individual, you will pay tax on your total income. So it will be your salary plus this income plus whatever, and that will place you on the bracket that you're supposed to be. So for example, if you have your salary at work, they might be deducting you on a different bracket because that's how much they know that you make, that's how much they're paying you. And then when things come together and you are now, your side hustles and everything comes together, the total might be in a different bracket. So you might find yourself paying a lot more tax or owing tax. Even if you did pay provisional tax, you need to keep in mind is that you need to then pay provisional tax. If you are earning any income other than a salary, you need to be a provisional taxpayer and you need to pay provisional tax. This means that you will break down your income tax for the year into 2 and an additional 3rd payment. I do have a video on provisional tax if you need more details on when and how, but it's just basically an estimate that you pay twice and then you top up a 3rd time if you need to. Now this is where you'll find that sometimes you paid a little less tax, you paid a little less provisional tax than you were supposed to because you have other incomes from different areas. So you do need to combine everything to make sure that you're estimating very close to what you're actually going to pay, because you do also pay a penalty if you underestimate. I think you're allowed like a 20% difference. If it's more than 20%, then you pay a penalty. You pay for underestimating or for overestimating, even if you pay like way more. So you can't just take 100,000 and throw it at SARS. It needs to be a calculated estimate. Now, I know a lot of people might go, oh, but how will they know that I'm making this income, and how will they know? They know. They're gonna know at some point. I have seen SARS coming back and saying, hey, in 2009 we're seeing that you had this amount, but you didn't declare that you have this amount. So don't play games with SARS, guys. Don't play games with SARS. Or if ever you want to immigrate and now they're like, excuse me, you have this property, you never declared any rental property, you're trying to do things, they know. They literally know. So don't try and play games, please, because they will come back to bite you at some point. But yeah, I hope this video is somewhat of a clarity. It's a very short video, but I hope it gives you some kind of clarity and answers some questions. If you do have more questions, don't be afraid to ask. I will always try and answer. I do miss some of the comments, messages and stuff, because it can get quite a lot from the different platforms, but don't be scared to ask. You can also find me on Instagram and on TikTok, where you'll probably get an answer faster. So if you're ever looking for like a very quick answer, Instagram, moneymatters_Dorozo is probably the best way to go about it. That's probably where you will get the quickest answer, because it's not as overwhelming as the other platforms. Okay, thank you so much for watching.